have a workout breakdown. Number 5 is the CrossFit Games Open Workout 25.2, which is the repeat 22.3. I'm not going to break down what that workout is. I'm sure you've all seen it by now or you know enough about it. Today we're going to break down successful points on this. We're going to look through limiting factors, pacing strategies, ramp, how to warm up properly, energy systems, gymnastic strategies, and thruster strategies to give you an idea of which pathway to take in this workout. Now, we also have a pacing chart which you can find linked in the bottom and or in our social media profiles. So we have strategies in which will get you to 40 percentile, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 95 and 100 percentile type of pathways and strategies to get you there. Let me preface this workout with, I like the fact that we have a mixed modal workout, being gymnastics with pull-ups, chest to bar, bar muscle up. You have monostructural with your double unders, and then thrusters being your weightlifting components. So you've got your 3 different mixed modal structures here. For some people, you're going to look at this workout and just know immediately that that's not going to be of consideration for you. For others, you're going to want as much of that time as possible to get as far through this workout as you can. Now, there are some degree of difficulties in this workout. So if you're relatively new to double unders, this could be a hiccup. The chest to bar I would say be the initial, one of the limiting factors of this workout. The load of the barbell gets progressively heavier for the thruster, and then finally the bar muscle up will be the highest degree of difficulty for the skill. If you are, I'll say this, a male and a female, we have done studies and we have a 25% roughly difference in pulling capacity. So from face value, typically you're going to see males' times be a bit faster than the females. However, we may have outliers of say top 5 times be a little bit better for the females, because in comparison of the thruster weights in these workouts, it is slightly beneficial for the ladies. Traditionally, this weight might be 43 kilos in conjunction with the 61 kilo barbell for the males. This one here might be say 35. So there's just a little bit of a lighter load there for the ladies. The thruster distance traveled will generally be a little bit shorter as well. And there just may not be so many gymnastics pulling movements in here that might compromise the female to have a better score than the males. But I think on average, we're going to see a male's time be a little bit better. So ladies, credit to you when you beat the boys. I think it's even more impressive in that instance. So limiting factors, obviously you're going to either have your gymnastics being a limiting factor, maybe it's potentially the double unders or the strength and speed of your thruster, whether you can go unbroken, etc. Identify that limiting factor. Now for me, the way that I always teach this is that if that is my limitation, I am not going to go faster in the other things so then I can have more time for that. I am going to take my time and break down the other components that I am good at, so then I have more energy for the thing that I'm, that will be my limitation. So for example, if I'm not so bad at pull-ups, double unders, and I'm not very great at thrusters, I then may look at breaking my pull-ups into 2 to 4 sets, 5 sets potentially. Double unders at 42 reps shouldn't be too much of an issue, sub 30 seconds worth of work. If that is going to be an issue, break those 2 sets, and then I have as much energy without compromising too much time for the thruster when I get there. So then I can put in a good effort. I'm obviously not looking to go unbroken. You may use 2 type of metrics here, an RPE system where you go 6 out of 10 effort for your first set, and or an RIR system, so reps in reserve. If I get to 8 reps and I think that I have about 5 more left in the tank, that might be a good chance just to chop it up and break it. And then go again. So RIR or RPE might be my dictation of how I actually break this down. Pacing strategy, I also like to just look at these numbers like this. So say 21 reps on the thruster. I may actually do something like 8, 7, and 6. So that gives me a nice little descending rep scheme. Mentally, it's nice knowing that I've got a lesser rep range to hit on my next set. If you are needing to break those in a little bit more, it might be 7, 6 for 13, 5 for 18, and 3. So just think about how that looks for you to get down. So pacing strategies is very crucial, and then just probably not rushing so much for your rest times in between. Of course, we know that to get a faster score in a workout, or the absolute fast transitions matter. In a workout like this, not so much. You can do a great score and not stress about fast transitions and really take a moment to get a breath in between those items in which you're transitioning to. I don't think that that's going to be the biggest predicator of your score being successful, unless you're in the kind of top 5. If you're outside of top 5 out of the 200,000 people that are doing it, don't stress. It's more important just to have a good flow on and keep your energy intact as you go about these movements. So pacing strategy, and that pacing strategy would work for all of those movements. Now, pacing strategies, we just kind of like group that in with your limiting factor, making sure that you're putting more effort into the thing that you're not so good at, rather than trying to buy time by putting more effort into the things that you are good at. Then you also wanting to break this workout, which I think would be pretty basic here, breaking it up into 3 little categories, and obviously we get ascending degree of difficulty as we go down. The only thing that doesn't get so much more difficult is the double unders, by then decreasing the reps so much as we go through, and then the degree of difficulty for that movement isn't as much as a bar muscle up in comparison to chest to bar, and then the load of barbell for the thruster here. So I've broken this down into 3, and I want to look at this in a different light. I want to only take this first section, 70-80% of my maximum effort. This next section, 80 to 85%. And then finally, 85 to 100% max exertion. If I know that these are going to be my limitations, and or the workout gets hard there anyway, even if you're an elite level athlete, if you're getting a sub 5 time, this is still going to be very compromised. You're potentially going to break the muscle ups, you're potentially going to break the thrusters, you're potentially going to break both of them, and if you don't, there might be more of a rest in between those sections, which is all fine. However, you would still follow this type of game plan. You would still not go balls to the wall on these things, but you might go unbroken. It just might not be the absolute sprint cadence style of repetition for speed. But 70-80% will allow me to still kind of continue in this effort without compromising too much time and going too slow. And then just allowing to set, I'm basically trying to set up for my last section here. So I've broken that down into 3 sections. That's my pacing strategy. Now, we have a little system here, ramp, so preparation for the workout. At first, I'm gonna raise my heart rate, so anywhere between 5 to 10 minutes. And that is something cyclical or monostructural, something like biking, rowing, running, ski erg, all of those things in conjunction with each other, those are all fine. Activation, I wanna get the muscle groups that I'm going to be using prepared for the workout. And with the arrangement of these movements, it is everything. So I'm gonna try and pick some things that, like, I don't wanna do 10 different movements twice, 3 times through. What are some things that are gonna cross over some of those movements? So I might look at doing 2 or 3 sets of 5 movements maybe. We might go scat pull-up, scat pulls, double unders. We might do some just simple calf pulses, thruster. Let's do a squat press out, some Cossacks, and single arm overhead dumbbell press, plus maybe windmill. And that's just gonna get us nice and warmed up to being able to do all these movements, or at least activate the supporting cast muscles around the bigger muscles. I still haven't quite got through my movement primer. Don't stress about that. I don't need to do everything in one go. Just kind of putting in the little foundations and building blocks to get there. Mobility, straightforward. Let's look at the mobility, 10 minutes worth. This might be, well, ankles. Ankles is also going to probably double up as your soleus, your Achilles, and your calf, which is going to do dividends for your double unders as well. So the ankles for the bottom portion of your thruster for the squat. We're going to target the hip. We're going to target the thoracic spine because you're going to want that thoracic spine to be prepared to receive the barbell and being in a vertical position during and throughout the movement. And then obviously we're going to have that extensive arch range of motion for pull up, chest to bar, bar muscle up. And then finally, probably just some general shoulder opening as well, whether that's lying twisted cross hold or scorpion twist hold rather. We might do a banded shoulder stretch and just kind of open up every little angle there. You're going to get into that pressing overhead motion as well. And then from your mobility, we're going to move into the movement specific primer or precise movement primer, which would be, let me do some pull-ups. I might do 3, 10, 3, build all of my patterns and then continue down, maybe rest 30 seconds, 3, 10, 3 again, rest, minute, 3, 10, 3, all at intentional race pace or faster. And that just gets my body to an absolute preparedness to be able to start my workout with good intention. Energy system, this one's big for me in this workout because we have such a discrepancy in time. Now, the fact that we've seen this workout in the past gives us a really good platform for data. So the fastest time that has been performed in this workout was 4 minutes for males, 4 minutes 11 for the ladies. In real quick terms of understanding energy systems, and many of you will know, you've got your glycolytic system, glycolytic, anaerobic, and these are just basic 3, oxidative / aerobic. We'll go anywhere between 0 to 15 seconds, anaerobic, 15 seconds to 3 minutes. Oxidative, you would usually say 3 minutes to forever. I say 0 to forever, but that's neither here nor there. Forever. And then I think that CrossFit has allowed us this other training energy system window to be prevalent and needs to be considered, and that's an anaerobic threshold window. Anaerobic threshold. And this is anywhere between 2 to 10 minutes. Why? Good question. Anaerobic threshold, so let's look at something like a Fran. A Fran 21:15.9, world's good times right now is sub 2 minutes or just under 2 minutes. So you're looking at the anaerobic window here. If you push outside of 7 minutes, like are you in the oxidative system? No, you're kind of still in that threshold training, but then I would also then look to consider what degree of difficulty is the impact of the contraction of the muscle or the force of the contraction. What is the damage on the central nervous system or the replenishment required for the muscle to repeat and go again. So all that to say, imagine doing a 10-minute bike test. You're going to be able to hold on for 5 or 6 minutes at the same pace and then potentially drop off a little bit and then pick it back up because that last 90 seconds, maybe 1 minute. So it's not as impactful versus if you were to do 10 minutes of thrusters at 43 kilos. But if you've done it, you know about it. It's gonna put you in a hole. But it's really probably not glycolytic, it's not anaerobic, it's not quite oxidative, it blends the mesh of them all. And I think that this best represents this workout, this energy system here. If you are somebody who you know is going to get maybe to the bar muscle-ups and get capped out in that region at 15 minutes, this becomes a whole different energy system workout. You are now sitting in an oxidative or an aerobic energy system. An anaerobic athlete, like we probably can just discard that automatically because we just seen our fastest times being around 4 minutes. So would that consider this whole workout being aerobic energy system? Although the oxygen is present throughout the whole workout, which is essentially what the aerobic energy system is, it feeds off fat for fuel, but we're at a higher intensity and pace than what would typically see at an aerobic energy system. So that's why we are classifying this one here as an aerobic threshold training system. And then probably if you're in again, like we just talked about, doing the bar muscle-ups and you get capped out at 15 minutes, you're going to be standing around a lot more in this workout than actually performing movements within itself. So I guess from face value, if you were to complete every single movement unbroken with at top rep speed without any real rest, there's about 3 minutes and 30 seconds worth of continuous work there at the fastest possible pace. So that being said, you've got 11 and a half minutes where you're just standing around, compulsory, at the absolute fastest. So that being said, 11 minutes of standing around puts you into this energy system here, into the oxidative system or the aerobic energy system. So there's going to be people that are focusing more on the technicality of their movements rather than the pace of their workouts. That's just one way to look at it. Gymnastic strategy. If I cannot do, now I'll start with the chest bars. If I cannot do 10 unbroken chest bars, it might be a wise idea to just start off with singles. Just do singles from the beginning. You're obviously not going to race your way through here, but if you cannot do 10 unbroken chest bars, just do singles when you get here, because when you get here and you've tried it, you can only do 10 chest bars, but you open with 7, they're gonna end up with potentially singles or long 20-30 seconds rest to get 3, and then the bar muscle-up's gonna be heavily compromised. So if I can't do 10, I'm only going to do singles from there. My pull-ups, if I'm sitting on maybe 12 to 15 at best, I might only be opening up with sets of 3. My bar muscle-ups, when I get to that point, I'm just gonna max them out. If I'm in that area, it might be single, 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 single for my best score, because I might be able to do doubles every other day, but the pattern at this point and then the compromised grip fatigue, high heart rate might not allow for that, so it might just be singles off of the bat, which could be the better option for us. If I know that I can do, say, 25-30 bar muscle-ups and I've got here really, really fast, this here, I'm probably just taking this off an RIR system where I get up, and if I feel good, I'm gonna make sure that I just leave 1 in the tank. If my movement starts to slow down and I'm taking 3 to 4 seconds every top of the rep, that's probably also an indication. Just come down, 7 to 10 seconds break, shake it out, and go back up. Because remember that the thruster still comes after the bar muscle up. So there's something else there that you still need energy for. And if you don't go unbroken on the thruster, then there's definitely room where you can slow down up here. If you go unbroken on the thruster, work your way back, and then peace out somewhere else where you can probably eliminate 1 more rest or group in 2 sets together into 1 type thing. The thruster strategy, probably the same thing. I wouldn't be looking to go my first set unbroken unless I know that I'm in that 95 percentile bracket or more, which is going to be a finish time of 7 to 10 minutes or less. And if I know that I'm not in that bracket, I'm immediately looking at breaking those thrusters and taking on that type of rep scheme that we spoke about earlier, 8-7-6, or having that little pacing strategy. And I'm still trying to put myself in best position possible to set up this last bracket, plus get this 15 thrusters as close to unbroken as possible. And I say that, like, for you, it might be 3 reps, but as close to unbroken as possible. And I'm actually going to fight for every rep at that point. Maybe potentially not leaving 1 rep in reserve. I might just max out my reps in reserve and then take the break that's needed to get there again. Let's say if I was able to do 1 more rep for over 3 sets rather than saving that rep, that's 3 total. That's worth the risk, because if I didn't, if I paced it out, I might end up with 3 reps to finish. So you might actually just group that into 1, and then it's a little bit like, use your environment, use your noise, you're close to the finish line, you can see the light, try and hold on to those types of ideologies when you're going through that portion of the workout. Total time cap 15 minutes. This is my breakdown of 25.2. Again, head to our pacing strategy. You can find on our socials. We'll link it in the bottom of our YouTube channel. Let us know how you go. Let us know how this supported you in getting your, understanding for this workout and how you can best find your score. And we'd love to see you perform really, really well. And we look forward to seeing your result on the leaderboard.